we're doing is looking through drawing, trying to discover more about this particular church and the cultural references back to the Anglo-Saxon period and connect it to the physical medieval building, just to join everything together and take a group of young archaeologists who wouldn't necessarily be drawing and work through drawing to see if it helps them discover more about the church.
The advantage of drawing something is that you have to look at it in detail to be able to draw accurately what's below you. If you're taking a photograph, you can just point the camera, click, and you're gone, you've moved on. If you're drawing something, you've got to look at each part of the detail. And often when you're drawing things, you can see things that you would miss from a photograph. One of the nice things about archaeology is a lot of the skills are transferable. You're looking at things, you're questioning evidence, if you like, to try and work out what things might have been, what things mean. And I think archaeology is one of those where a lot of the skills do cross over into all sorts of other things. A lot of archaeology in the field is drawing and planning and mapping. I think they wouldn't have expected to be quite as creative as perhaps we've been here.
It helps you to understand the world, but it also helps you understand how you feel about the world, because it's an interactive process. When you're drawing a grave slab, you think about the name that's on the grave slab, how did the person live, and that's what we've concentrated very much on. Not just the building, but who was in the building, but what were the people like? Was there a village around? What were the people like living in the village? So it's a whole way of looking at a huge section of understanding the world and the various periods that we're looking at through this building. How we started, well, before we actually came on site, we had 2 sessions actually going through and looking at the references that you might put in a painting or a reconstruction of the time and how many different sources you could look at. So it's not just about drawing, it's about looking at sources, it's about looking at literary sources, artistic sources, references, literary references, and putting the whole thing together. It's also an idea to actually take the sketchbooks and use those at different times to make notes as well as to make drawings. So to connect the whole thing up, really, it's a thinking, discovering process.
We started with the cross because we were looking at different Celtic designs, and then it gradually just built up around the back.
When I first heard I was coming to a church, I thought well, it was only a church, so there wouldn't be much to draw. But when we got here, it was that much, and I didn't understand it at first. But now that I'm beginning to understand, it's helped to draw better. And you can start to think what life would have been like how colourful it would have been, and picture it in your mind.
Are you going to give us a sermon while you're up there?
It would have been really, really colourful and bright. A lovely place to be, even though it was a sacred place.
The banners came from ideas that the tower is Saxon, so in Saxon times it wouldn't have been a plain white church. There would have been lots of colours and lots of symbolism. And the banners really, I think, are just to try and reflect that symbolism. We showed them some bits and pieces that are from Saxon times, but basically to get the colours, I just gave them lots of different colours and said, get on with it. And a lot of that has come from what they think the colours should have been, which is really nice.